This was a copy.
Yep, we good, we good. Okay, we're gonna get started. We're gonna get started in a few minutes. Of course, because that. This is the way it always happens, Bill. Okay, we're gonna get started in about 2 minutes. Okay, everybody. So moving on with our program, we're going to start with our Distinguished Service Awards. Today, we're going to honor two public servants who have passed away since last time we met. These two individuals served the citizens of the state for decades. We're all better for their service and their friendship. We'll miss them both. And if you're an elected official, most of the time you knew them by first name because they all came from the lower ranks, as we call it, the toughest ranks, which is the mayors, the commissioners, these areas where we're constantly working and serving the community on a daily basis. So first I want to bring up, where's Joe Jr. at? Joe, come on up here, my friend. Come up here. Okay. Joe Felicio was a former mayor of Livingston. Okay. As a BPU commissioner and president, he was a visionary, a champion when it came to energy. As we spoke and talked about his work, it's not intended just for him and for today. It was always for tomorrow. If we all know Joe was probably one of the most personable guys out there. He'd stick his hand out as quickly as he seen you to shake it. First question was, how you doing, how's your family, then he wanted to start having a conversation with you. He didn't start his conversation what was going on with the state and everything else. He looked you in the eye and he talked to you. So, like I said, sometimes you're without words. You can write down and try to convey his message, but I think we all understand how Joe was and what he did for all of us. The benefit we have today, we have Joe Jr. here, a man who takes on the legacy of his dad to show the strength and fortitude of his family and his family values. So with Joe, as a token of not only appreciation for the League of Municipalities, but a token of all representatives in the state of New Jersey, I'd like to present this plaque to you of your father's honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. We'll take a look at all of that flag.
Funny as hell.
One more, right?
Yes,
okay. Just do one more.
Okay.
Who are you looking at?
Thank you, brother. Absolutely, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say very, very briefly that it's an honor to share the dais with so many dedicated public servants and to receive this recognition on behalf of my mom, my sister, and the entire Fiordaliso family. As many of you knew him as Papa Joe, not Joe Fiordaliso, and you share that connection with him, and that was so meaningful, and so many of you have taken a moment to share those anecdotes with me this week, and it's meant so much. You know, if there's one job that he loved as much as president of the State Board of Public Utilities, it was as mayor of Livingston, where he felt he could truly make a difference. And so on behalf of Papa Joe, I want to thank all of you, every mayor in this room, for the public service that you provide to the state of New Jersey and to all of your communities. And that's exactly what he'd say if he were here. Thank you all so much.
Next, we deal with another individual, a person, a friend, a family member, with Sheila Oliver. Sheila held so many different positions in the state. Yes, Lieutenant Governor and Secretary of State was the final. But let's look back in the history where she came from, her strength, and most importantly, her personality and her compassion. She never forgot where she came from, and more specifically, she wanted to make sure that she gave her knowledge and her experience to the next generation. She never looked about size of your town, okay, what affiliation you were. The infectious smile that woman had on her face was immeasurable. Always looked at you, hi, how you doing? Take a few minutes to talk about something. And most of the time, it had nothing to do with politics, just like we said with Joe. This is a generation that we've had when it comes to leaders that we have in the state of New Jersey. And again, this is a testament to Governor Murphy putting together a solid team. And when he put together the team, he looked on the bench and looked for the people that were really willing to play the game correctly by the rules and to look at the people that they deal with. And that's why when we talk about Sheila, besides, like I said, with Lieutenant Governor, she was Speaker of the General Assembly at her time, a DCA Commissioner. She championed so many things. Her voice was soft but stern. It went right through. You knew when she wanted to make a point. So today, like I said, when somebody passes away, they pass away twice. Once physically, once when you stop saying their name. And the important thing is, today, it's a celebration of her life, a celebration of her friendship and her compassion for each person that's sitting in this room. If you didn't know her, okay, unfortunately, okay, you missed out. Read up on her. Her legacy speaks for itself. So at this point, if I can, I'd like to have her brother Charles Oliver come up. Can't do enough. Say something?
Good afternoon. This is tough for me. I'd just like to thank everybody for all the kind words and everything. And I'd be amiss if I didn't thank the governor. He was nice enough to cut his vacation short to come to our house. My mother, who's 96, every now and then she wakes up, she asks, "Is the governor coming today?" I said, "I don't know, Mom. I'll give him a call. If he's not busy, maybe he could show up." But Sheila's nephew, who they always discuss politics late into the night, I just have to call him up. "You out there, son?" I just will have to call him up so he could say something on behalf of his aunt.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'll be brief, but on the behalf of the Oliver family, I just want to say thank you to the League of Municipalities for honoring my aunt with this prestigious award. This yearly event, it was truly one of her favorites, if not her favorite, to attend over the last 2 decades. I also want to thank Governor Murphy and his team for doing an unbelievable job of supporting our family from day one. Since my aunt's passing, like my father said, he cut his trip short to come and spend time with us, and that's something we will really cherish for the rest of our lives. And our family also is really excited about the upcoming events into keeping my aunt's incredible legacy and mission alive, which aligns with creating an environment in New Jersey that works for us all. Thank you all again for the support. God bless.
Strong shoe game. Okay, moving on. Well, first, before I get to my next award, I do want to take an opportunity. I was blessed yesterday to speak at the Women in Government dinner that they had. And again, I looked out into the audience, and it was like I just seen family. I just seen so many familiar faces. And, you know, I told them I was humble and I was upset at the same time. And I told them because I look at all the strong women leaders out there. And then I did some statistical, I actually went to Mayor Patterson had the class right before about diversity. And I was looking at the empirical data and evidence and the quantitative data sets. And I'm like, wow. I looked at the unrepresentation that we have, the low numbers that we have of women in government. And I'm like, we've got the all-stars in government sitting here right now, distinguished leaders. We are. I wouldn't say we're better, but we are definitely different and have higher expectations than most states. I mean, when I sat there and I looked at the winners, I'm like, that was a tough match because obviously they clearly hit the benchmark. But I looked out there. There's so many great people out there, all-stars that do the job that I've learned from. Okay, that I rely on. I could just go right down. I know Jackie for a while. You know, Mary Jane. You know, she's part of my town, home team. Shoshana, she's on the phone with me every 2 weeks. The thing is that you just knew the words are coming out of their mouth like this. They just knew what to say, when to say it, and they were very comfortable. And that's why I said, me as a man inside government, I feel it's my responsibility as well to purvey that message out there, and more importantly, to recruit. Okay, the next generation of women leaders by showing them it's not hard to retain them because once they get in the game, they're the best in the business. Recruiting's hard because they always say that may not be me. Okay, that glass ceiling's not only broken, it's shattered, and it shows it right here. So we got Jackie Vesey over here from Esham. Okay, we got Mary Jane Canosa over here from Bernardsville, my home county, and Shoshana Page, who's the senior policy advisor to Mayor Baraka, but pretty much she'd do it all. Every time you ask something, they always say, talk to Shoshana, because she knows what to do, what to say all the time. Very comfortable. So congratulations to all three of us. You do an outstanding job, and we look forward to your guidance and leadership once again. Yes, stand up, please. Okay, next award will be the Public Sector Career Recognition Award. And at this time, I would like to ask my hometown security chair, Mayor McDonough, to come up. Everybody loves Tim. This award, it's very difficult, and I'll tell you something. It's very competitive nowadays. Reason being, again, testament to Governor Murphy. When we look at women in government, what do you got? 10 out of 14? Cabinet. Exactly. 10 out of 14 sitting in those cabinets. Strong, distinguished individuals. So when you're really trying to look at the best of the best for that year, it's difficult because every one of them's A. You got to look for that one person that just took that extra step, and it's difficult. But this one, this year, I wouldn't say it was a no-brainer, but the thing is that when we sat down and we really took a look at the skill set, the personality, the communications, it was something that, when Tim and I and a couple of people were asking, everybody's names, that name seemed to come out of all our mouths at one time. Lori Dorian joined the Office of Homeland Security in 2018. As she came up to the ranks in 2022, she was tapped by the Murphy administration as a director. Now, we all know that's the cabinet level position, but where did she come from before that? She served 32 years in the CIA, okay? A distinguished career. Again, there's certain things we can't discuss but I can tell you, when you talk about public servant, yeah, she knows everything about me by the time I walk through the door. That's what she says, how are you? I'm like, you already know. When we talk about public service, this lady gave up a good portion of her life, uprooted herself for the mission, and the mission was to safeguard the United States of America. When she came here, the mission really didn't change. She put family, when I say family, not just personal family, but the family of New Jersey first. When you take a look at her staff, okay, the people that are sitting on her bench, every one of them can have a record label. They're all rock stars. And I've worked with them on different areas with the state police and all that because I've been around for a little while in law enforcement. It's like I can't believe you can have a staff like that all in one shot. When we take a look at what they do in Homeland Security, everybody watches TV and says, oh, it's the terrorists and the bad guys, and they win the game, and the show's over 2 hours. This stuff is by the second, by the minute, by the day, by the year. It's something that's dynamic and fluid, and it takes the real heroes, okay? State police, Homeland Security, being that centrifuge, reaching out to those other stakeholders, and both internal and external, to make sure to interweave them, public-private partnerships. It's not easy, people. You've been driving down the road lately and you see those times, see something, say something. How many times they get a call saying, who's coming after us? I said, nobody. They say, I see all these signs. I'm like, no joke. You've seen the sign. That's the purpose of the sign being out there. The muscle memory. When they ask about programs, about statistics, if we don't give you statistics now, you're going to get those statistics at where? On social media, and then come up with your own assumptions. This is where the director comes in and is really a champion and making sure that that information, as intricate as it can be, is provided to you in such simple, clear text that anybody can understand it and say, I get it. When we say, are we safe? I tell them, well, you walk across the street and get killed by a car, right? The thing is that you can trip over your own feet. What do you consider safe? When I tell you in New Jersey, we are definitely, because of the way the government is designed and our Homeland Security Division, I can tell you right now, we are light years ahead of everybody else. So when you say you're safer, yes. The thing is, they're working for you every single day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Tim, because Tim is the chairman, I'm going to have him read the award real fast, and we'll get it off.
Thank you. The members and officers of the New Jersey State League of Municipalities are proud to present the Public Sector Career Recognition Award to Lori R. Duran, Director of the New Jersey Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness, in recognition of your contributions and extraordinary commitment to public service and general welfare to both state and local governments. Lori Duran.
Tim McDonough, Best Supporting Actor. Congratulations, kiddo. Is Jimmy here or not? No, he's not. No. You told him I said hi. Congratulations. Thank you. That's so good.
I will keep it brief because I actually am an introvert, but I can fake extrovert very well after 32 years of working at CIA. First, thank you very much for this award. I was very surprised and very honored to receive it. One, because I appreciate you recognizing the service that I did for the federal and for the state government. Second, I was a covert employee of CIA and received awards when I worked at CIA. I am no longer a covert employee, so it's very much freaking me out to actually get an award in public and saying that I'm from CIA. On behalf of my colleagues at CIA, thank you for recognizing us through me, and also on behalf of OHSP, thank you for recognizing us. And also my final thing to say is thank you, Governor Murphy. You are a rock star boss, and I am very pleased to be in his administration. Thank you.
God bless you. Give Jimmy a hug. Love it.
Tim.
We do the team shot.
Team shot.
Yep. Guys, we'll hop in together, too.
We're going over here, guys.
Oh.
You guys are very efficient.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, why Mayor McDonough's up here, would like to speak real briefly about Walmart initiatives.
Tim.
Thank you, Ray, and thank you, Governor and First Lady, for being here. The Quality Initiatives Mayor Wellness Campaign has awarded a total of $127,500 in grants to 10 New Jersey communities, supporting local initiatives in their support of community mental health. And First Lady Tammy and Governor Murphy, I know this is an issue that's very close to both of your hearts. The grants are funded by Walmart. Walmart is a huge supporter of the New Jersey League of Municipalities in helping needed communities. Over the past 8 years, Walmart has donated over $1 million for the sustainable efforts by many of the municipalities, and another $100,000 during the COVID pandemic in helping communities with their internet and connectivity issues. This opportunity highlights the New Jersey State League of Municipalities' dedication to supporting municipalities in their efforts to provide mental health for all our communities. Here today, representing Walmart, I'd like to have them just stand up and say hello, and that's Pavi Unula and Setu Patel. Thank you very much. And when you go back to Bentonville, tell them to keep the money flowing to New Jersey, will you? Okay. So the municipality winners are, and I'll just read them off, and if you're here representing those municipalities, please stand up. In alphabetical order. Bernardsville, Camden, Hillsborough, Passaic. Now I'm waiting for the catcalls on this one. Patterson, Rutherford, South Brunswick. There we go. South Brunswick's in the house. Stafford and Woodbridge. Congratulations.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you as always. Look, Tim's one of those guys. Some of you are old enough to remember the Bugs Bunny cartoon where it said first base Bugs Bunny, second base Bugs Bunny. When you think of first base Tim McDonough, second base Tim, he does everything. Somewhere along the line, he's got an active role in most of the areas in the league as well as other organizations, and we appreciate it. I know it takes a lot out of his time, his family life, but he's, like I said, he's second to none when it comes to government service and more specifically friendship. Speaking about friends, okay, I know a lot of people always want to take an opportunity to sit up on a stage and read a resume, okay, and talk about, you know, your next speaker and all that stuff. Here's the deal. That's not me. I looked at it. That's not me. The thing is that our next speaker is a friend to everybody, regardless of political affiliation, regardless of size of towns, regardless of where you are in New Jersey. He's a friend. We may not agree on every single thing under the sun, but we agree we have a person that can discuss, communicate, and be eloquent, and be able to be an active listener. Now, we all know in government service, I mean, I'm always blessed. I'm in Somerset County. I got great people that I work with, but it's been very refreshing. We're fortunate with a second term that you can pick up the phone and you can reach out to the governor of the state of New Jersey at some of his aides and get information. And like I said, sometimes it may not be what you like, but it's there. The more important thing is that when there's an event, when there's an incident, what do you see when you turn on TV? What do you hear when you look on the radio, hear on the radio? You're Governor Murphy. That speaks volumes, because when you look at the coach and you want to get information, the best person you're going to hear from is the person that's running the show, whether it's the mayors, the commissioners, and ultimately, like I said, the governor. An enormous responsibility. 8 years of your life being taken away. Tough on the family, right? Tough on the kids. But it really takes a special type of person, a special type of family to do the job of governor. Let's look at some things that we're looking at now. Liquor licenses. We all have been dealing with this for some time. It's huge. Okay? We have support that they're looking at this to try to get movement on it. Economic development. Where was New Jersey before where we are now? Okay? We've seen a lot of progression. And this has not just happened like last week. This has been something that's been a benchmark for some time. When we talk about even upcoming things like the World Cup, okay? I know the governor's already been looking at that, getting a committee together, making sure that something like this is going to be a month-long event, not just a game like the Super Bowl. It's a month-long, because you got tourism, all right? You've got a lot of things. You've got hotels, a lot of stuff. We get to broadcast New Jersey and show it to the world, okay? The last time we did that was in the early 90s. We get to show off our municipalities and our counties, to show them how well we do things. So as we start moving into 2024, 2025, we're going to start seeing some constraints, as I call it. Okay? When you come out of COVID, and you have a bill to pay, you have a social norm that's going to change a bit. You've seen it now. People don't shake hands, people keep distance. People are just starting. This right here is probably the best we've ever seen. This is pre-COVID numbers, and we're very blessed. But the person that's put us on the map through COVID, after COVID, and has a plan for the future is the gentleman that's sitting to my left. Like I said, I mean, even in my other position where I work, I have interactions with the office. Nothing but pure professionalism and friendship. Okay? A dialogue is what you look at. So it doesn't matter what you say, what you do. You look in a man's eyes and you can see sincerity. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the ultimately cool, right? How do you say? Ultimately cool, Philip Murphy, Governor.
Thanks, Governor. I love you. Thank you. Thank you all. Bill, you're going to be great, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. I gotta hire. Grab a seat, Ray. Enjoy yourself. Ray forgot a few things to say about me, so he wants to come back up and speak a little bit more about me. I'm going to ask Ray to follow me around the state and introduce me at all my events. But Ray, seriously, you've done it. You're a dear friend. You're a great mayor, and you've done a great job as the president of this extraordinary organization. Let's hear it one more time for your president. Congratulations, buddy. Really, and as I got to know Ray over the years, we've known each other since it was cold, dark, and lonely for me. And you look at Ray's resume, you look at his experience, police, fire, emergency management coordinator, mayor. You feel like in his town when you call 911, Ray's going to answer the phone. So hats off to you, buddy. To Executive Director and another dear friend, Mike Serra. Let's hear it from Mike. Great job, buddy. To you and Lori, every single year you've done a spectacular job, and you managed, I appreciate what you said, Ray, about my managing us through COVID, but organizations like this had to manage themselves through COVID, and you all did a fantastic job. It's an iconic, Egginton tells me that the Walk to Washington's coming back in February of 25. I think of that in the league as sort of the two iconic tent poles where we all come together and do something that only New Jersey does. So Mike, Lori, and the rest of the team, hats off to you. And Bill, who's another good guy and a mayor of over 20 years, you're going to be great. Incoming president, I think you get the gavel this afternoon. So Ray unburdens himself with the gavel and hands it to you, and you're the mayor of Wharton, Bill, and you're going to be a great leader of this organization. And I wish you nothing but the very best. Just general acknowledgement to all the elected officials and dignitaries out there. It's an honor to be here. This is something I look forward to every single year. Tammy and I got down here yesterday afternoon, and I think Peg was with me for one of them. We did 9 hits last night, and we ended up dancing in the lobby of the Hard Rock, making a complete fool of myself, I might add. Staying up much too late, and as usual, having just gone to Raz Baraka's event as the last stop, I've lost my voice as I do as an annual matter. Find me a better town crier than Rich Lalina. Rich, love you, buddy. So impressive. Ernie, thank you for being such a gracious host. Give Marty a hug for us. And I love the comment you made, and Marty has made it as well. It's the folks who are serving our food, who are behind the bar. I'm a Murphy, I noticed them. The folks who are making your beds, housekeeping the rooms, they are the backbone. They are the heart and soul of this great community, and a big shout out to them. I want to, Tim McDonough, who works for the New York Jets, and I think it's 50-50. Tim actually may play quarterback on Sunday against the Bills. Good luck, Tim. But thank you, buddy, for acknowledging, not just helping out with Lori, who I'll come back to in a second, but and to our Walmart friends. I think this mental wellness and youth mental health initiative is a huge deal. I just stepped down as chair of the National Governors Association, and as Walmart knows, because they were big supporters, youth mental health was the initiative that I chose to carry the flag on. Tammy, as First Lady, carried it on infant and maternal health, and there's no state in America that does what we're doing on infant and maternal health. And I just think the acknowledgement of the communities that you supported and to all the communities that won, I take my hat off to you. We've got representatives of our administration. To Tammy's left is Jacqueline Suarez, who is the acting Department of Community Affairs Commissioner, and stepping into the big shoes left tragically and sadly by Sheila Oliver. More on Sheila in a minute. And then to her left is Sean LaTourette, the Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Protection. I thank both of them, but I want to give a particular shout out to my colleague Lori Duran for the award she just received. It is public knowledge, as was discussed. I hope you didn't break news on this on Lori. I don't think you did. That Lori's a 30-plus year veteran of the CIA, but so was her husband. And they both worked with me when I was the ambassador to the Federal Republic of Germany. So Lori and Team Duran and I go way back. I also want to give acknowledgement to these three rock stars on stage left in the first row. Congratulations on the Women in Government honoree, because it's richly deserved. And then finally, of course, I've got written remarks, but I don't need them. I want to acknowledge the spirit and the souls in both Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver and the President of the Board of Public Utilities, Joe Fiordaliso. Two extraordinary public servants, two Newark kids, by the way, who grew up in Newark. It's a community that never left them. Sheila did literally every job you can do in government, as Ray quite rightfully pointed out. Joe was, frankly, a version of that as well, not only an extraordinary president of the Board of Public Utilities, but I think Joe Jr. said it right. The job, his life job, was mayor of Livingston, which is, I think, poignant given that we're gathered here at the League. They're two crushing losses for our state, for our administration, and for Tammy and me, and so many of you personally. And Charles Sr. and Charles Jr., I can't tell you how honored I am that you guys are here. Please, Charles, give Mom a hug for me. Tell her Tammy and I are going to come by, and you'll be able to answer her questions sooner than later in the affirmative, that they're on the way. And Joe Jr., love you, buddy, and to your mom and your sister, and God bless you guys as well. Let's hear it one more time for Sheila Oliver and Joe Fiordaliso. God bless them both. So, acknowledging right up front that as municipal leaders, and Ray, you were very gracious toward me, but in a very specific way, Sheila's and Joe's legacies not just live on through their families and through Tammy and me and our administration and the communities and people they touch, but quite poignantly, their legacy also lives on in each and every one of you. All of you who work, whether you're a mayor, a council member, or other positions, you move to chip away at the challenges that face millions of our neighbors. And the fact is, as municipal leaders, you stand on the front lines of public service. Ray mentioned this when an event happens, a disaster strikes like a flood or a forest fire or a major traffic accident, to name a few. You folks are the ones that get that first call. And whenever our residents have complaints or concerns, I know even in New Jersey they have complaints, you are also among the very first to provide them with an open ear and an open mind. So in many ways, you understand the challenges our neighbors are grappling with better, frankly, than anyone. And like me, I know you have heard time and again that there's one challenge that's a perennial, that remains at the top of the list for so many of our families, and I guarantee you, of our administration, and that is affordability. In our post-COVID reality, everyone is feeling the financial squeeze. Whether you're a taxpayer, a business owner, you're a worker, you rent, you own, you name it. And there's sort of two gaps right now that I'm sensing. One is at the very macro high level, the U.S. economy looks to be in very good shape. It looks like we're going to avoid the hard landing that we were all fearful about. But tell that to somebody who's in a grocery store or in a gas station, and they think of where they were pre-COVID, and they're not feeling that great feeling up there. That's typical. I'm an optimist. I believe that gap closes. It's a lead-lag factor. But that's exactly what I think we're living through. What it feels in that grocery store or gas station today, I think will feel meaningfully differently in 6 to 12 months, in a positive sense, I might add. But there's no denying that that's the case today. So this, again, it stares us in the face all around us. And as mayors and municipal leaders, you have, on that one in particular, I think, a rare vantage point into understanding how those rising costs can impact communities. If there's pain, you see it firsthand. which means you also have a keen insight into how we can help alleviate that pain. And that's frankly one of the many reasons why this conference is so important. It's an annual opportunity for all of us, and particularly for mayors and council, to come together and to learn from one another and hopefully identify new solutions to help our families get by. And of course, when it comes to affordability, it's important to note that there are factors that are both in our control and out of our control. I'm a recovering banker, among other things, and they teach you in markets there's systematic risk and there's unsystematic risk. Systematic risk is largely the stuff that's beyond your control. That's the market sentiment. It's right now a war in Europe, a war in the Middle East. It's what the Federal Reserve is doing. It's interest rates. Can we, all of us collectively, me personally, can we influence any of that? Maybe at the edges, but I also acknowledge that we'd probably be wasting a lot of our time and energies by focusing on something that we can only influence at the edges. Unsystematic risk is the stuff you and I can actually move the needle on. And so that's what we are obsessed with in our administration, and I know that's what you're obsessed with in your various communities. What can I do? What can we do together to meaningfully move a needle, whether it's affordability, public safety, economic development, whatever it might be. And so what we do, we spend our administration 110% of our time while acknowledging the stuff that's beyond our control and praying that things get better. We're obsessed with where we are today versus where were we when I first put my hand on the Bible almost 6 years ago. And I think even more importantly, where are we today compared to other American states, particularly the ones that we compete with. Remember, every state's got a bumper sticker. Ours is the #1 state in America to raise a family. That's New Jersey. But as I say, what we can change beyond the stuff that's outside of our sphere of control, what we do have control over as leaders and as lawmakers is how we decide to help our neighbors weather these storms. What are we going to do literally for your next door neighbor? And that's an area, I have to say, in which all of your insights and your partnership has been absolutely indispensable in our now almost 6 years. Because together, during periods of unprecedented uncertainty on a worldwide scale, such as we're living through right now, we have made significant progress in making life, among other things, more affordable for our state's residents, whether that's bringing down the cost of living for working families or making it easier for small business owners to stay in business, or whether it's creating new, good-paying job opportunities for our state's workers. I recently came across, on that second one, on small businesses, I recently came across a data point that speaks to our collective work. Again, over the past now almost 6 years, and even in the face of all of the disruptions that I mentioned, our small business community has grown at a remarkable rate. Since we came into office, which is again January of 18, just under 6 years, we've seen more than 60,000 new small businesses open their doors. That means that today we have more small businesses than we have ever had before, and we lead quite handily our peer states in the Northeast of the country, and we're among the leaders of any states in terms of small business creation. And at the same time, and again, I'm not going to run the risk of tearing my rotator cuff by patting myself on the back. We have a long way to go on everything. We've been on a journey for almost 6 years now. I'm proud of the progress we've made, but we ain't done. Let me just say that categorically. But at the same time that we've seen this enormous growth in small businesses, we have also secured, and this is not easy, new rights and benefits for our state workers. Higher minimum wage, expanded family leave, paid sick days, to mention just 3. So, in short, I think we've managed to strike the right balance between, on the one hand, defending and supporting the rights of our workforce and our working families, while at the same time cultivating a more business-friendly environment in New Jersey. In other words, we have been largely what we said we would be, stronger and fairer, not just one at the expense of the other. And a few months, don't take my word for it only, a few months ago, CNBC ranked us both as the most improved business environment state in America and in the top 3 states in America to live and work. Doing one of those things is pretty cool. Doing both, I think, is a big deal, and we did that. Now, again, I got to get my hand off my back here, which I don't want to give that impression. And as I mentioned a minute ago, we don't think in any way, shape, or form we are near the finish line. But that being said, I think I'd stack our record up against any other state in the country. We just did a big trade mission to East Asia. We were in Japan, South Korea, Taiwan. Tammy and Peg and others, and some of you out there were with us. First of all, Jersey plays really well internationally. We are viewed to be one of the more international states and international friendly states in America, which is a cool thing. And so one of the things we did a chart, and we ranked, 20 or 22 states that we most often compete against for jobs, for investment, for where families are going to live. And then we ranked objective metrics that are done by third-party entities. And we ranked the ones that we think are the ones that are most on the lips of a boardroom discussion or a family kitchen table discussion about where you either want to put a business or raise a family. And we were in the top 10 in every single one of them. And we were number 1 in a bunch, including the number 1 public education system in America. So that's what I mentioned a few minutes ago, comparing not just sort of where we were versus where we are now, but in the heat of the moment, where are we up against states that we're competing with? And we come across very well. Now, there's one area that I know collectively, we talked about affordability generally, but let's get down to the brass tacks. The one big one that we do have a big hand in, you and me together, is property taxes. And just weeks ago, in October, for the second year in a row, we provided direct property tax relief to more than 1 million New Jersey, either homeowners or renters. Now, those are households. Those are households, so that probably represents 4 to 5 million New Jerseyans. And depending on how much money you make, and again, we means test almost every incentive we have. So if you make, for instance, the Community College Opportunity Grant, if you make under $100,000, it's a last dollar program. You're going to community college free of charge. Just as in property taxes, if you make under $250,000, or even better yet, under $150,000, that's where the big juice is. And we've knocked, through that anchor program, we've knocked property taxes back to levels, if you're in those income categories and you either own a home or you rent, which is a new wrinkle, you're going back to property tax levels in around a decade or more ago. And if you're a senior, we juiced the support even more this year. And then in a couple of years, we'll have the Stay NJ program, which will boost seniors when it gets into place by reducing their property taxes by as much as 50%, which is a huge deal. And we're in this together. So I also want to, switching gears, over the past couple of years, we've put about $225 million in a municipal relief fund, which I know is a big deal for you folks out there. And that investment has directly supported your communities so you can provide more and better public service to your residents without having to jack up your property taxes. We've also made 3 consecutive full, for the first time in over a generation, pension payments, and I'll be damned if we're not going to do it again next year. And you all, again, know this, particularly in a state like ours where 53% of your property tax bill on average is public education. We have been at record state level of investment in public ed for each one of the 6 years we've been in here, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And again, if we're paying that much, all-time record, that's money that you don't have to find in your local communities. And that, to me, is a win-win-win. And I also think not just forget what we've done for a minute, I think we're also continuing to keep our ears open and pursue new ways to make the state more affordable. And a big piece of that, I mentioned a few minutes ago, is doing everything we can to support our family-owned businesses, overwhelmingly small businesses, and to revitalize our downtowns, both of which were battered by the pandemic. So to help our communities get back on their feet, our administration has, I would say, I'd use the word vigorously, supported a number of initiatives through the New Jersey Economic Development Authority under the great leadership of Tim Sullivan. And Ernie, I was thrilled earlier this week when we announced we finally had at least a bridge to address the food desert here in Atlantic City, thanks to the EDA, which was so desperately needed. But the EDA has put on the street, since the beginning of the pandemic, over $1 billion for small businesses. Only California and New York, which are a lot bigger than we are, have put more money to work. Things like the Main Street Recovery Fund. Or back in August, we unveiled right here in Atlantic City the Boardwalk Preservation Fund, which is $100 million to support our shore communities and to invest in those wooden main streets that are so incredibly important to these shore towns. And while all of these investments and programs benefit our communities in different ways, the fact is that each one of them are centered around the same broader economic strategy. And that's simply making life more affordable for working families by rebuilding the three legs of the stool that have always buttressed New Jersey's success. One of them is to grow the economy. When we got here, I think we inherited a state that had a static, if I succeed, it's at your expense sort of economy. We have to break out of that. We have to get to a better, larger space in terms of our economic growth. So grow the economy, address the awful inequities, particularly those that are so pronounced across racial lines, and whether it's infant maternal mortality, where we were at the almost bottom of the American list, or the racial gaps in our criminal justice system, where we were at the bottom of the list, shamefully. We're addressing those inequities. And then lastly, once again, be the state that people look up to, that's responsible, a state that can be trusted. I remember, I wasn't even living here at this point, New Jersey was always the first two words on somebody's lips when someone elsewhere in this country had a policy challenge or an approach challenge they weren't sure how to handle. It was inevitably, let's see what they're doing in New Jersey, a AAA bond-rated state at the time. So we are slowly crawling back. I'm not sure we'll be a AAA bond-rated state again. In fact, America's not AAA rated at this point. But we are one step in front of the other. Those are the three legs of the stool. Grow the economy, shrink inequities, be responsible once again. And we're going to, I promise you, for the next 2+ years that we've got left in our time here, I promise you we're going to run through the tape. And even in the face of what I think continues to be, not just I mentioned cost of living in the grocery store or the gas station, but this is, I think, increasingly a softening economy. Even in the face of that, we're going to continue to look for new wins, new ideas. Again, it's one of the main reasons we have the relationship we have. And I think Bill and Ray would say on both sides of the aisle, we're all in this together. We're all, if you're a mayor or the governor, we're chief executive. At the end of the day, the buck stops with you. The buck stops with me. The more we can share ideas, the better off we will all be. And I promise you. I'm not going to rant on liquor license reform. I appreciate Ray raising it. I think it'll be transformational for our main streets, and we have to do it in a thoughtful way, and I look forward to working with, and they're here in spirit only, Senate President Nick Scuteri and Speaker, who had to jump out, and by the way, walk a picket line, I might add, to you union brothers and sisters, Speaker Craig Coughlin. I look forward to working with them on doing this the right way, unleashing access for the folks who don't have it, and also acknowledging there's been a lot of investment, maybe in some cases for decades, for folks who do have them, and we want to do that right. I also know that you all, I think Mike hosted a dialogue on the state plan in this conference. That's something we're going to take very seriously, I promise you. That's another example of why we've been on a pedestal back in the good old days as a state. We were viewed, Governor Kane, I think, was one of the big proponents of that. We were viewed as a state that not only worked well, but knew where it was going in a very thoughtful way. And we want to get back to that, I promise you. I also want to give a shout out to two guys here today, not only Jacqueline Suarez in her DCA capacity, but also Nick Platt and Jordan Glatter with us. Do you guys mind? I know Nick's here. I think Jordan had to leave. Nick, stand up and take a bow, buddy. He's sitting beside the one and only Claire Todd. So Claire and Nick and Jordan work on the shared services front. And it's nj.gov/DCA, I believe, is where you go to find out more of their work. We have, and they've been extraordinary. Again, one Republican, one Democrat. Ideology does not matter to them one bit. The whole objective here is to find ways to help you share services and save money for your taxpayers, and they've done a remarkable job. And I think your two programs are open for business in terms of applications, the so-called LEAP program, which is Local Efficiency Achievement Program, and the School Regionalization Efficiency Program. And I think both can be accessed, Jacqueline, through your, again, nj.gov/DCA. If you haven't accessed them, trust me, it is worth it. Even if you end up not being able to get something done, you're going to learn a ton by doing it. So hats off to that. I could go on. I won't. It's an incredible honor for Tammy and me to be here. Your predecessors, Ray and Bill, have always remarked, I can't believe you, A, showed up, and B, you stayed for the whole lunch. Every year, people tell me that. And I'm thinking to myself, was saying this to Craig Coughlin earlier, this is such a, not just unique Jersey event, but these 2 days, who wouldn't want to be in here? Who wouldn't want to be with people, sharing ideas, giving folks high fives, celebrating, having a little fun? In my case, dancing like a fool. I'm incredibly honored to be here. Ray, I thank you for your leadership. Bill, I wish you the best. And Mike and Lori and team, thank you for everything you do. God bless you all.
Okay. Thank you very much, Governor Murphy, for your remarks. So before I close, the last thing I just want to mention is that today's luncheon, this entire operation starts planning a couple days after this luncheon. For this to work, we are 52 weeks out of the year, 51, okay, are non-convention days, okay? Use the league as your resource tool. It's safe harbors. It's the only place we can really go, okay, besides even with the Conference of Mayors, that there is really no Republican, Democrat. The thing is that you have friends there, colleagues. It's safe harbors. We can talk. And more specifically, you look down to the lower right-hand corner and the upper left-hand corner, and you see Mike and you see Lori. Okay, without them, nothing would get done here. And I will make it perfectly clear to you that besides that, besides all that, without their staff, okay, and I can look to the right, and I can see a Kearns. I can look over here. I take a look at Frank Marshall back there, Paul. These are names that are every single day working for you, and they should be commended for the couple days that we've been here. Also, with the leadership of our previous executive director who laid the foundation, Mike Darcy, we appreciate you coming. So in closing, when we look at this, we want to make sure everybody knows it. Thank you.